Like Purdue, it's just an example. Purdue losing to Fresno State is okay. We still win the Big Ten West. Me,
Billy Napier gets fired. I'm just kidding.
hey, really the best time of the year. I will be seated watching the Red Zone for 7 hours on Sunday. What's going on, everyone? And welcome back to a new episode of Backyard Banter. That's Tanner, James, Johnny, and before we get into anything, we now have an Instagram. So go follow us on there at Backyard Banter Podcast on there. And if you're watching, we usually say at the end, but we're going to say at the beginning this time. Subscribe, like the video, pushes us out to the algorithm better. And yeah, we're going to get right into it. Loaded weekend, every sport. Tanner, what do we got?
I'm going to go ahead and take it away with Texas-Oklahoma Red River rivalry. I went ahead and picked Oklahoma in this matchup. You guys picked Texas, which is fine because we could have gone either way. But what a game, guys. I mean, what a game. Something that I think I forgot to mention last week is whenever they play, seemingly the last 5 years, every single game has gone down to the final play.
Except for last year when Texas won 49-0.
Yeah.
I mean, an insane 2-year turnaround for Oklahoma.
No kidding. But, I mean, just another classic finish to a classic rivalry. Oklahoma, man, they're legit. Dylan Gabriel made enough plays. Their defense had some takeaways. They had some sacks. Just a clutch drive by Dylan Gabriel. A Heisman moment, in my opinion. While I don't think he is the favorite, he definitely is up there. And I was thinking about this. I'm going to go ahead and ask your opinion. So, I think, in my opinion, this is my favorite rivalry in college football. But I know people probably would put Michigan-Ohio State up there. Mm-hmm. So can you, other than Michigan-Ohio State, can you name a better rivalry than this one in college football?
Can people? Yes. Like Auburn-Alabama is right there. Yeah. But the scene at the Cotton Bowl, man.
Oh, it's so cool.
It's like, for my people back home, it's like Fun Fest, which is a big carnival our church does. And then, there's a football game with 100,000 people in it. And it's just like, the scene was incredible. It's on my bucket list to go. Auburn, Alabama, obviously, is insane. Ohio State, Michigan, but a few things I want to talk about. Texas was 1-3 in the red zone.
Yeah,
terrible. I mean, Quinn Ewers had 3 turnovers, I think, in the first half.
Yeah, he didn't look very good.
He had 2 picks and a fumble, and we talked about it last episode. Oklahoma needs to run the ball. It doesn't matter who it was; they ran it. On Texas D-line, Dylan Gabriel, 113 yards rushing. I mean, he was incredible. Play after play. It was an epic finish, and I won't shy away from my Texas pick. If they were to play again tomorrow, I'd pick Texas again. But an awesome game. I hope they meet again in the Big 12 championship, and we can get it.
We got to see what's
good. I think it's going to happen, right? That's just the way the Big 12's going. But you're right. I mean, there was so much talent on both sides of the ball, and for Texas, it's pretty normal, right? You're kind of used to seeing a good recruiting class. And Oklahoma, still yes, but they got a team, and I was not high on them to start the year, and honestly, I wasn't high on them until this big win. But once again, it's all about getting that signature win, and they got it. And this is going to propel them moving forward.
Shout out Brett Venables, man. People were questioning that hire. Terrible first year. Mm-hmm. Came back, man. That defense, nasty. I mean, and traditionally Oklahoma, terrible defense. And Oklahoma has been the class of the Big 12 for the past
decade.
Yeah, I mean, they're the ones that made the college football playoff. They're the ones that won the Heisman, not Texas. Yeah. But it's crazy how 2 years things could flip. But yeah, James, we got to do it.
I know we have
Talk to us about your team, man. What happened?
Couple things, honestly. I mean, you turn over the ball 5 times. And here's the thing. Sam Hartman, in my opinion, didn't play that bad of a game. Mm-hmm. I know he threw 3 picks, and usually that results in a terrible football game. But I'm not going to say it wasn't his fault or put all the blame on him. The first pick he threw, was his first pick of the season, was just an incredible play. Like, an incredible play by the DB there. Sure, bad ball technically, but it was just a great play on the ball and everything like that. The thing that Louisville did well was run the football. And you talk about the trenches all the time. They won the battle. Our D-line, in my opinion, was just fine. I've never seen receivers block as well as Louisville's receivers blocked. I'm like, all right, we're going to slip this. Nope. We're just going to stick the block 10 yards down the field. It was incredible. I mean, I think we had the better quarterback that day. What's his name? Plummer?
Yeah.
He wasn't that impressive to me, but he was good enough in the moments to do well. I mean, Notre Dame had 44 rushing yards.
That's actually my point. When you outrush a team by more than 100 yards and win the takeaway battle by unless they ran out,
especially against Notre Dame,
it's impossible to win.
Especially a team like Notre Dame, who no matter if we're good or bad,
you run the ball.
We're always going to be able to run the ball.
Guys, you got the big boys
and they still do, right? But the offensive line did not look great, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their D line, Louisville, looked a lot better. Here's the thing: I'm not going to. This goes into maybe this is a biased scenario, right? And this is the beautiful thing about college football. Why is college football so great? Because when you give 19, 20, 21, 22-year-olds an opportunity to shine on big moments, and they go into a game 5-0, underdogs against the number 10 team in the country, they're going to fight like hell. And that's what they did. Yeah. And Louisville, I don't even know if they're going to win the ACC, right? But at the end of the day, you gave a talented group of players an opportunity to go out and win, and Notre Dame just didn't look good. They can't win on the road. They looked really bad on the road. And like I said, the turnover battle, 5-1. They rushed 185 yards. Notre Dame rushed for 44. And again, you talk about this Notre Dame schedule. It doesn't matter because you got to move on. You take on USC this week. So
for me, man, Notre Dame has been very underwhelming this year in the fact that they brought in Sam Hartman, and we heard about it all offseason. Sam Hartman is going to take them to the next level. We've never had this quarterback. Sam Hartman was really good at Wake Forest, ACC player, and Sam Hartman and this Notre Dame offense has just not been good enough. I mean, you look at their big games so far, 14 points versus Ohio State, right? Mm-hmm. And then Duke, they scored, 20 points. Last week they scored 13. Like, their offense has not been getting it done, and that is the problem. That is what I look at when it comes down to Notre Dame this year. And I don't know, this USC game, we were hyped for it coming in this season, and all of a sudden USC hasn't looked great. Notre Dame's lost 2 games already, so we'll see about that game. But
I mean, no matter what, if the teams are good or bad, it's
always
a rivalry.
Yeah, it's the same. It's a helmet game. We talked about it with Florida, Tennessee, Notre Dame, Ohio State. It's a helmet game. Mm-hmm. And one last point on that game, I was listening to the Josh Pate show. Shout out to him, and he was saying this was Louisville's Super Bowl. It's 3 straight games for Notre Dame. It was Duke's Super Bowl. Now it was Louisville's Super Bowl. It's tough playing those 3 straight games. 100%. You run out of gas going on the road for 2 of them. It's just tough. There's tough scheduling break. And
the season isn't over, but it is over, right? Because a team like Notre Dame wants to win a national championship. That is pretty much sailed now. But at the end of the day, we talk about USC. With them playing in the Pac-12, they have an opportunity to win that conference, which means they most likely could get in. Now you beat USC, which we'll talk about it later on in the week, but it is what it is, right? Because like you said, when you face these teams week after week, night games on TV, like at their university, like it's crazy, bro. Like it's just nuts. How I don't know. It's tough. It's hard as a fan to watch them play other teams' Super Bowls, like you said. It's a great point. But we just got to be better. We got to beat a team like Louisville.
I got one more point on this game. Final point. This one was bittersweet for me because as a Purdue fan, it never gets old watching Notre Dame lose. But then when they lose to Jeff Brown, who now is ranked 13th in the country, undefeated, that was our head coach a couple months ago, and now he's ranked 13th. The highest Purdue has ever ranked with him was 19th. So he's already kind of outdone what he did at Purdue. So that's kind of frustrating. Yeah. But he beat Notre Dame, so it's that was just weird. That was very sweet for me.
You better move on.
No, it's tough, and we are going to move on. We're going to go to LSU, Missouri. LSU still is not good. Yeah. Their secondary is bad.
Awful.
Their whole defense is bad. I thought coming in, Harold Perkins, his dog, had a pick in the game, huge interception. They got 5 stars on the defense line. I was like, man, they're going to stop the ball. They got transferred in the back end. But, I had the big prediction they're going to finish unranked. And, this was just not an inspiring performance. No. Thank God they have Jaden Daniels, who's so efficient. He's a better version of Graham Mertz. Graham Mertz is one of the highest completion percentages in the country, but Jaden Daniels can do all of that, plus he can run for 1,000 yards if you give him a whole year.
He's incredible.
And he was so efficient the whole time, but I really don't know how LSU won. I was watching the game. I was like, Luther Burden did whatever he wanted to, but they kept him out of the end zone, which was a big deal. Missouri had a running back, Cody Schrader. Never heard of him before. He averaged almost 10 yards a carry, had over 100 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
They won because they got the big turnovers when it mattered.
Sure.
And when you have that talented of a quarterback, that's all you need.
Yeah. I was at a tailgate watching this game.
Oh, so was I.
So I'm glad you and I are on the same level. I was just on my phone, and I'm like, man, this game. And you could tell the other people around the tailgate must have had money on it or something, because everyone was like screaming.
Yeah.
All the college kids were like...
You think that's bad? I was playing cornhole with Lauren's family, watching the game. I know you guys call it back. It's just cornhole.
It is what it is.
And I'm watching the game, and her mom's kicking my butt in cornhole, and I'm watching.
It was a great football game.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was a great football game.
The 11, 12 o'clock slate, both Texas, Oklahoma, awesome. LSU, Missouri, awesome.
Yeah.
And again, where do you go from here, LSU? I mean, they have, I don't know the exact schedule coming up, but they got Alabama coming up first week of November.
Yeah.
They still have to play Florida, who's always a tough game, always a rivalry game. And it just it doesn't get any easier.
Well, this is where you go. If you're LSU, now you're in the same scenario. Well, you were in the same scenario. Even if you lost, it doesn't matter. You weren't making it. You are now in an opportunity to ruin other teams' seasons.
But the thing is, they only have one conference loss.
So they can still win.
If LSU's in the same position they were last year, they made the SEC championship last year. Yeah. We talked about last week. Early loss to Tennessee. This time, early loss to Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. If they go in and beat Alabama, they're going to
have talks. But I just think if they didn't look as inept as they do, like it's just a win. It's just a win, right? You beat Mizzou, and Mizzou's a good win because Mizzou is a team in the SEC who is back. They're doing great things for the football program. They're a fun team to watch because it seems like they can beat anybody. But you got to, if you're a team like LSU and you want to win out and somehow make. You gotta blow them out.
And not to mention, they try to say that they're DBU and all this.
I just don't think they can stop him. I don't think their defense can stop anybody.
No, they can't.
Now we're going to get to our top 10, and I'll go first. I'm going to say it right now. USC is not my top 10. I sat there and I watched the entire second half of the Arizona game, and it was pathetic. Their defense can't stop anyone. You miss a 25-yard field goal. I know they bobbled a snap. Caleb Williams, I don't know if you guys were watching, they almost pulled a Miami. They have the game won, and he does an RPO and throws it to the wide receiver, and it wasn't looking. It's almost a pick six. Yeah. And then the very next play, he tries to pull it for a read option. There's a fumble, and he recovered it. Just sloppy. They haven't looked impressive in the past 3 weeks. So let Colorado come back on them, so they're not in my top 10. North Carolina, if we had to do 11, they would be number 11 for me. They're right there. My number 10 is Alabama. I don't care if they have one loss. Going to Kyle Field, Texas A&M has one of the most talented rosters in football. Jalen Milroe played his best college game. They couldn't run the ball, and they won. Their defense is disgusting. Their defensive front can do essentially whatever they wanted to. So if you had to tell me, is Alabama one of the best set teams in the country? Yes. Number 9, I have Texas. Even after the loss, they're still a national championship contender. If they win out, they still get in the playoffs. And number 8, I have Washington. Their season really starts this weekend. Huge game against Oregon this weekend. Michael Penix, I saw today, is 1 yard away from 2,000. I thought that was interesting. But anyway, a huge week upcoming for Washington.
Yeah, I have Alabama at 11 because I have USC in my top 10. I'll get into it when I get to them, but I have Texas at 10, Bama at 11, just because I've seen like the coaches poll, for example, the AFCA coaches poll, I believe has Bama above Texas,
which is crazy.
We can't do that, right? They beat each other. I don't understand that at all, but whatever. Texas at 10, Penn State at 9. Again, Penn State's got that Big Ten schedule where they're going to have a couple big games coming up. I'm not quite sure if it's this week or next.
So they play UMass this week.
Yeah,
so dumb. I hate stop. Oh, you're in the middle of
your conference game. Yeah. So Penn State at 9, and then I have USC at 8. And the reason I have USC at 8, a couple things. One being the fact is they still have Caleb Williams. Yeah. Okay, and I understand your guys' points completely. They haven't played great football, but I also feel like they haven't had a reason to go out there and play. Maybe that sounds crazy. Yeah, they haven't had a game where they're like, we need to be worried about it. Like Colorado wasn't that scary of a game. Like it's not like they're going in there every week and they're like, oh man, I'm really nervous about this game. They're playing bad teams in the Pac-12, and yes, they're letting these Pac-12 teams hang around, but I just think they're going to start stepping it up when they start playing.
If Arizona was competent, and they're good, but if they were competent, they win that game. On a neutral field right now, who are you taking, Alabama or USC?
Here's the thing.
Because that's how I do my rankings.
I completely agree, but there's also other teams that I would take Notre Dame over or for Louisville again, but we can't do
Yeah,
that.
but neither of them are on the.
I know, but I'm saying in terms of rankings, like Notre Dame's well below Louisville right
Mm-hmm.
now, and so is Miami. Miami's 25, whatever. Anyway, I just think USC's offense is too good, and I think they're going to score more than other teams' mediocre offenses, even though USC's defense is literally worse than
Them and LSU, man, are fighting for.
No, I think USC clearly has the worst defense. Like, they are so bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have USC at my 8, but I completely understand what you guys are having.
Tanner, what do you got?
All right, my first 2 teams out are UNC and USC as well. USC, I'm not quite as harsh on them as you are. I think Arizona has actually been pretty good this year. They played Washington somewhat
Yeah, they
close.
were good.
Washington handled them better than USC, but Arizona, we're not giving them enough credit. I think they're kind of a frisky team in
Yeah,
the
they're
Pac-12.
good. And also, one more. If USC beats Notre Dame, they'll be back in my ranking. So,
probably
it's
for me
just-
as well.
Well,
At 10, I got Bama.
I hope they don't.
9 at Texas. 9, I got Texas. They were my number 1 week before. And 8, I got Penn State.
Yeah.
And then getting right into my 7, 6, 5, I got Ohio State at 7. Pretty shaky against Maryland, but Maryland's a pretty good football team. I think we mentioned last week this is a Maryland team that we're not used to seeing.
Yeah.
6, I got Michigan. And 5, I got Oregon.
It's really low for Michigan.
Really
I know.
low
I
for
was
Michigan.
in a few rankings ago. I had them really low, but
They're not impressing you yet?
I mean, the Nebraska one was
Their
kind
defense
of good.
is so good.
I watched the
Like,
Minnesota game.
What is their best win? Like, I don't know if you can even.
Yeah,
tell
but,
me.
but it's
we
kind of
knew
the
that.
opposite
But
of
we knew
USC.
that.
They've not only beat these teams, they've destroyed them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, well, if USC destroyed them, they would also be there with Michigan. I just think the teams ahead of them have played better teams.
yeah, that's fair.
That's fair.
The top here is very interchangeable.
So what, we go 7, 6, 5?
Yeah.
All right, so 7, I have Washington. Again, it's a huge week for them. And guess who I have at 6?
Oregon.
Right? So it's just who's gonna be the better Pac-12 team this week. And then I have Florida State at my 5. I think they might have dropped a spot from me from last week. No reason, just there's teams above them that have been playing better football. So
7, I have Penn State. We'll see. I picked them to win the Big Ten. Their whole season's in front of them. 6, I have Oregon. We've talked about it enough. 5, I have Ohio State. At the end of the day, they beat a Big Ten team by 20. Their offense line has problems. They weren't able to run it, but their defense is better than it's been in years past, so they have some more leeway. I'll go into my top 4. 4, I have Oklahoma. Can't say enough about that one. Brent Venables, huge friend. It makes me mad at Florida because they had that 1-year turnaround. There's no reason why every big-time program in the country can't have that 1-year turnaround. 3, I have Florida State. Struggled this weekend again. And really, ever since the Clemson game, they haven't looked the same. But again, there's still no team with 2 better wins. 2, I have Michigan. I actually watched a lot of the Minnesota game, and I mean they're just so dominant, and that defense is
So
legit.
good. So
And PJ Fleck says like, "This is the best team I've ever played in 11 years."
Yeah.
And when a Power 5 coach says that, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Number 1, I have Georgia. And they kicked in that 5th gear again against South Carolina, but it did the whole game. I said it on the podcast last week. You guys were like, I wouldn't be surprised if Kentucky was winning at halftime. I said, I would. Because the only reason why they beat Florida is because Ray Davis ran for a gazillion yards. He ran for, I have it right here, I think it was 59 yards. 15 carries for 59
Kentucky
yards.
was bad.
And I hate to say I saw it coming, but that's
Kentucky looked bad.
that's a win for me on this week. Georgia, they're just on a different level than teams like Florida, Kentucky, South Carolina. Those bottom 2 teams in the
100%.
SEC East. And they really showed that. I mean, it was a recipe for disaster. Kentucky going into Stanford, night game after that big emotional win versus Florida. People kind of overrated them a little bit. And yeah, that's who I got.
Yeah, I got Oklahoma at 4. Just a crazy win, right? I mean, they weren't even sniffing my top 10, and then now they're up to 4. So, but again, you get a huge win like that, you knock off the number 2 team in the country, it's impressive. So, Oklahoma 4. I have Ohio State coming up to 3. The reason I do is because you watch teams that struggle in the first half like they did, and then they battle some adversity, right? And they come back and they just show why they're still Ryan Day's Ohio State football program. They've still got talent on all sides of the ball. They're unbelievable. So I have Ohio State at 3, Michigan at 2. The only reason they're not number 1 is because Georgia just took care of business against a very good Kentucky team. So Michigan is legit. They're my national champion pick. They're looking great. Their defense is finally clicking on a whole other level. Probably top 5 defense in the country.
Yeah,
And
top 2
and I'm telling you, this offense hasn't even clicked yet, in my opinion. So there's so many studs on both sides, and then Georgia at 1 because they're Georgia.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Yeah, shout out Carson Beck, man. 400 yards.
Unbelievable.
4 touchdowns.
Right? There was a question mark about him. Why? Why was there a question mark, right?
Bowers, man, there's no better player in college football. There's no better player.
He's a true difference maker.
Yeah.
I mean, Brock Bowers is a difference maker.
What do you got, Teaster? Talk to
in
us.
NCAA.
Dude, you just any team that Notre Dame has connections with.
What
is
are you
just
talking about?
A lot higher than me and Johnny. Because you got.
I have Ohio State at 5. I don't hate them at
Ohio
4.
State 3, USC still in it. You got USC in there just because they played Notre Dame. Come on.
I have USC in there because they have the best quarterback. And do you really want to get going?
I'm just getting you.
All right, we're not.
No, because
I'm just-
Ohio State hasn't lost.
I'm just getting you going. I'm just getting you going.
Tanner, go.
I'm just getting you going.
Talk about Fresno State. How about the Bulldogs, huh?
I'm so mad they lost. Unless you buy them all the hype on Fresno State and freaking
All right.
Wyoming.
Number.
No one knows where Wyoming is.
Number 4, I
I
got.
know where Wyoming is. Yeah, I do. I drove through it.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Number 4, I got Oklahoma. I mean, what else is there to say? They beat Texas. And Texas was my number 1, so I have to put them up pretty high. So into the top 4 they go. Number 3, I got Florida State. Staying put, taking care of business. You know I'm high on the Seminoles this year. And then number 2, I got Georgia. And my number 1 team is Washington.
I mean,
They are my number 1 team in college football.
He stayed consistent on it.
And they will
the
be
Huskies.
playing my number 5 team, Oregon, and I can't wait to watch.
And they're going to get
Great.
smoked.
And
Yeah.
the winner of this game will be number 1 next week. So.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's
But
crazy.
anyway, we're going to go right into NFL. We talked about it on the preview. Looking into this game this week, there wasn't any wow matchups, but I want to talk about the Jags and Bills.
Move them
real
to
quick.
London.
Yeah, the Jags, man.
Move the Jags
I think
to
they had a
London.
huge advantage on staying that extra week.
Yeah.
But I mean, ETN 26 carries, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Josh Allen kind of came alive late, but it was too late. Trevor Lawrence did just enough, man. That game manager, Trevor Lawrence, right
Just
now.
enough, 300 yards passing. Come on.
But I mean, that AFC South is wide open right now.
Yeah.
Much more fun division. I have to say, sorry to the Falcons. I said they were the worst team in football, and they beat the Texans. That was a fun game.
It was a fun game.
Desmond Ritter's never lost at home.
Yeah, what is it?
Insane.
16-0. Is that what the stat
in
was?
college and NFL.
Yeah, it's impressive.
So, is there a game you guys want to talk about? Do you want to branch off of it?
I just have there were so many close score games, but I think that's just how the week was set up, right? I think it was decent divisional games that you knew, the bad teams were playing the bad, the good were playing the good, so you knew they were going to be pretty tight. So my first stat is the Jags need to move to London. That's a possibility, right? It's circulating in the air. Did you see they're adding flag football to the 2027 Olympics or 2028 Olympics?
I did not.
Yeah, it's super. So football is really changing, and it's going around the world. So move them to London. I mean, they're 2-0, right? So 3-0. I think they won last year. So, but I want to talk about the Patriots.
Bad, man.
They need Brady.
Yeah.
Tom needs to come back.
Not even that. They need Bailey Zappi to play.
I mean, how bad is Mac Jones?
But I watched a lot of the game. He is not the best, but man, he has no time to throw.
No time.
His receivers drop the ball. Oh, all of a sudden an interception for the Saints. And the Saints, I mean, they're not world beaters or anything.
No.
We know their defense is good, but man, they went out there and embarrassed them on their home field.
Yeah.
You don't see that too often. I think they lost by 35 last week to the Cowboys, lose by 34 this week. I mean,
34-0.
yeah. I mean, Bill Belichick is it's tough, man, because you want to say he's only as good as quarterback, but if Brock Purdy and Mac Jones switch places, I don't think the 49ers would be as good, but I think they can still make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And if Brock Purdy's with the Patriots, maybe they score a touchdown, but they're not winning this game.
It's not like they have a bunch of pieces around Mac and he's just not performing.
I
just suck.
I do every week I do a full power rankings on my own, and if it wasn't for the Carolina Panthers, the Patriots would be dead.
They're bad. They're bad. They're bad.
They're very bad.
It was a very unimpressive performance by the Saints, you can say, or just a really bad performance by.
I'm a Saints hater, so I'm going to say bad performance. Do you got a game?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the Ravens Steelers.
Yeah.
Because what's going on with Baltimore?
I'm very high on the
Their
Ravens.
receivers
It's
dropped
bad.
everything, man.
It was bad. I'm very high on the Ravens this year. Steelers defense has not been good. They've been giving up a ton of yards.
Steelers defense, they haven't been good.
No,
They've been pretty good.
Statistically, they've not been good. They've been getting up a ton of yards. And in comes the Ravens offense, and they can't score the ball. And I get they have TJ Watt, and he is a big deal. But outside of that, I was expecting a lot more out of the Ravens this week. The Steelers' offense is so bad.
So
right,
bad.
like Kenny Pickett and Matt Canada are like
but man,
almost as bad as Bill Belichick. and Matt
when it mattered, man, George Pickens 130 yards and that touchdown. Then that last drive, man, and he did it last year. I mean, when time comes, I don't know what takes so long. Yeah. They got plenty more than enough.
He needs the game to be tied, and there's like 5 minutes left.
Did you guys see the reaction of Matt Canada when they scored? He was like, he's like he wanted them to lose.
This is kind of partly the reason why I picked the Steelers to win that division, because it just seems like they always win ugly. They win games they shouldn't win. You think they're so bad, and you look, and they're in first place. I know it's 5 weeks, but they're first place in the division. They haven't lost a division game yet. Like, the Steelers seemingly are always there, even though they're bad. They're always going to be there.
Exactly.
And the Ravens...
It's Mike Tomlin. Never had a losing season.
Yeah.
I mean,
coaching, man.
Yeah, it is. But
it's impressive.
One more point on the Ravens real quick. They have all their road divisional games out of the way.
All of them are easy.
So everything in front of them. Hopefully the wide receivers will not catch next week. Back to NFL. We don't have to talk about this game, but the Giants suck, and it's bad. They completely.
So bad.
We said about it in the preseason. They completely crippled their franchise by giving Daniel Jones all that money. Now he's getting no help. We'll put the clip up here when Evan Neal, 6th overall pick, just lets the rusher go right by him.
Yeah.
And he's under duress all the time. They don't have a difference maker, a wide receiver. They have a washed up Darren Waller who can still be good at times.
He's been the difference maker for them.
So washed up is correct. Incorrect.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
He's not the 1,000-yard receiver he was 2 or 3 years ago. And without Saquon, they're completely net. But
not their defense. They scored their first half touchdown of the season this Sunday.
Yeah. And it was a pick 6.
And it was a pick 6.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Their first half touchdown in week 5.
It's incredible.
That is bad.
By the way, Devon Achane, dog, man.
Yeah, well, he's hurt now, so.
Whenever he comes back, they have so much speed, the Dolphins do. I mean, it's incredible. The speed they have. I was blanking on their name. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane, just...
Raheem Mostert.
Now
they have Chase Claypool who's going to play tight end for him.
Chase Claypool sucks.
All right.
32nd overall pick for Chase Claypool.
What's going on with the Bengals? They figured it out?
Yeah,
they won a game, man.
Joe Burrow and Jamar?
I think they figured it out. Jamar Chase, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns. And that's why in our fantasy pick, I picked Joe Burrow. I was like, this is their kid.
Here's my opinion on it. I don't think they're there yet, because when I see stats like this, Joe Burrow looked a lot better to Jamar Chase. When I see a quarterback go to one receiver, I'm not totally convinced that they're figured it out yet. I just think they're dynamic in their relationship, and they're playing the Cardinals. Yeah. So, I'm not sure the Bengals are there yet. I think they've been a lot better than they were the past couple weeks. But, it's great to see Joe Burrow throw the ball to Jamar Chase, especially if Jamar Chase on your fantasy.
Yeah, he looked normal.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I don't agree on your point about targeting one wide receiver, because my favorite NFL player likes to do that.
And also, T. Higgins was out.
He was out. Yeah. He was out. Yeah.
But I'm.
Are you referring to Justin Fields? And
we're not talking about the Bears.
I'm not.
This is 1 week. We're not.
Well, the Bears did play this week, so it's kind of a weekend.
I'm not quite sold on the Bengals yet. Yeah. They're still under 500. I get that they started 1-3 last year as well, but man, the Cardinals are bad. Sorry to bring up the Bears, but the Cardinals are worse than the Bears.
I don't know.
They're that bad.
Arguing that.
They're that bad.
But
it's close. It's close.
One more game I want to talk about. The 49ers, man, rolled. And again, we talk about it more with college, but helmet game, 49ers Cowboys, man. I'm sure the rating for that was huge.
Oh yeah.
And they came out from the jump and just
it was never a game.
Rammed them. Dak Prescott 3 picks.
Yeah.
It's just
George Kittle 3 touchdowns.
Same thing with the obviously Dak's better than Daniel Jones, but they really hindered their franchise by giving him all that money. I'm not paying a quarterback unless he's top 8 to 10, that kind of money. And Dak's not a top 10 quarterback for me. He's not. He's a good game manager.
Isn't it incredible? We talked about it when we weren't airing, but isn't it incredible when you miraculously draft this quarterback and you don't pay him any money?
Yeah, and you have all this money.
And you have all this money, and you're like, oh, CMC's on the market. Sure, come here. Gregory, you're on the market. Come here. It's just. It's the things that you can do.
The 49ers paid Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel. They're going to have to pay Brent Ayuk coming up. They paid Fred Warner. Is it Fred Warner? They're linebacker. Warner. He's a stud. He's incredible. Give him $100 million a year. They paid Bosa. They paid CMC. They paid George Kittle.
But why? It's because you don't have $100+ million quarterback contract.
I don't even know if they're paying him $1 million.
And you won't even. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about Brock Purdy, and I'm not sure when his contract is up in what
2 years. He has this year and then 2 more.
Are you even gonna have to shell out $100+ million on him?
Bro, first of all, you can just, in Kyle Shanahan's system, you just go draft someone.
I would draft Bo Nix. And
Right.
Develop.
No, it's absolutely incredible what the 49ers have been able to do because they have the best team on paper, but it always comes down to quarterback play. And Brock Purdy is just good enough for that system.
Yeah.
George Kittle 3 touchdowns yesterday. Like, it's incredible.
Them and the Eagles are kind of in the class for them. I mean, the Eagles went to LA and won.
Yeah.
They just don't look as dominant as they did last year. And a win's a win, and traveling cross country is tough. And I think Tanner and I picked the Rams, but there's I think. Did you pick Notre Dame? Terrible pick.
you picked Texas.
Hey, we picked a lot. We did bad, but
you picked Purdue.
We have a new segment that we're doing. Tanner kind of did it once last week. It's Would You Rather, and I'd like to go into mine first because mine kind of relates to the NFL. What situation would you rather have?
Oof.
The Broncos or the Panthers? Let me preface this for the audience. Panthers are the worst team in football. Don't have their first round pick this year. Don't necessarily know if Bryce Young is the guy. The Broncos. Let me read you these stats. What the Broncos gave up for Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, 5 years, $245 million for Russell Wilson. Sean Payton gave him 5 years, $100 million. They have 6 wins in 22 games. Obviously, Sean Payton wasn't the coach last year, but this year they're completely inept. So, what situation would you guys rather have?
I can answer this one pretty easily. I'd rather have the Panthers. All right. Even though they don't have their picks first and second this year, they're first and second next year. I would. The fact that they have Bryce Young is the only reason I'm saying this because Russell Wilson is much older and is not going to get better.
They have Drew Lock?
No, Drew Lock's on the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Bryce Young is younger and can get better.
But the thing is, they have a lot they need to address. They don't have a wide receiver one. Their defense.
Adam Thielen, man, he's a dog.
He is a dog. Adam Thielen's good, but long term they don't. Their offense line is fine, not great. Their defense line is again fine.
They
not
are
great.
so bad at football. The Panthers are so bad.
I think that they gave up a little bit less capital than the Broncos in terms of the draft, and they have a quarterback.
I agree. The Broncos don't have their first round pick this year either.
Exactly. I would much rather have the rookie quarterback, Bryce Young, than Russell Wilson.
I'd rather be a Bronco fan, and the reason is because they have somewhat pieces around that quarterback situation. Russell Wilson has just looked god awful, but they still have Sutton, right? They still have Judy. Like the Panthers don't have a guy like Judy. They don't have a guy like Sutton, right? The defense is,
Panthers defense actually has some guys.
Yeah, they do, right? But I just think in terms of what they need to address is like a quarterback. But I'm not even sure. The reason is Bryce Young he's not it.
You don't know that.
I just think he's too small. I just think he's too small.
Yeah, we'll see.
And that's just my opinion.
I think he could be Drew.
Well, I would rather be a Broncos fan.
Because he's too small, him and Russell Wilson are the same height. So.
But Russell Wilson has proven himself.
Okay.
Bryce Young hasn't.
All right, Tanner, you go next. What do you got?
Would you rather start a franchise with it's a quarterback wide receiver combo? You only get one of the two here. Would you rather have DJ Moore and Justin Fields, or CJ Stroud and Nico Collins?
It's actually a good question.
That's a good question.
It actually really is a good question.
These are two guys that kind of tie into each other.
It's a good question, but I think there's a clear answer. I think DJ Moore and Justin Fields. Because of the fact that I'm not quite sure if Nico Collins is like just having a fluke year.
Yeah.
I hate saying this.
Isn't he a rookie or a second year?
Second year.
Yeah,
second year.
Early.
And the Texans have figured out their quarterback situation for sure. But obviously watching Justin Fields and DJ Moore these last 2 weeks makes you just take their stock even higher.
Tanner took their stock. He thinks Justin Fields is the top 3 quarterback in the NFL.
I never said top 3. I said top 5.
Which is it's crazy.
And we all rank them.
I asked this because I was interested.
Name your top 5 then. Because I'm actually curious.
I got it. Hold on right here.
No. I need to hear it.
Oh, you should see.
I need to hear it.
He has him ahead of Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow.
I have 2 at 1, Mahomes 2, Hurts 3, Josh Allen 4, Justin Fields 5.
And that's based off this year, but I don't care. Every day of the week, I'm taking about 10 quarterbacks.
All right, I asked this question to hear Johnny's answer.
In that question, it's tough because I think DJ Moore is better than Nico Collins. I think Justin Fields' ceiling is up here, but CJ Stroud's ceiling is up here. I'm gonna take Justin Fields and DJ Moore just because I'm still banking on Justin Fields' ability to move around the pocket better.
No.
And not the pocket, move around better. He's he's still a 4.3 guy. And then he rushed for 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah.
And I think will eventually become an above average passer. He has all the tools to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, give me it's close, really close though, really close for me because I think C.J. Stroud's going to be Justin Herbert. So yeah, James, last but not least.
So my question is kind of similar to yours. I just basically took these last couple of weeks of football and just, would you rather be a certain fan? So Tanner and Johnny, would you rather be a Patriots fan or a Panthers fan?
Is this for the rest of this season or?
Future.
I take the Patriots just because they have their first round pick this year. So if I were them, I'd completely tank and go get Caleb Williams or get one of the top 3 dudes.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, say what you want about Belichick, he has 6 rings for a reason. As a head coach, he has more as a defense coordinator. He's still, he's still the best coach, NFL coach of all time. So for those reasons, I'd feed me the Patriots.
I would rather be a Patriots fan because, I mean, I know you said it's for the future, but at least you've seen some rings before, right?
You have seen some rings, that's true.
I would rather be a Patriots
That's
fan
true.
in that fact, but no, I think
What if
Patriots,
you're like a 3-year-old fan?
all right, I'd rather be the Patriots because of that first round pick. You also have Bailey Zappi still. Like I would
cut him.
I would imagine
When?
they still got him.
Yeah.
He played.
He's played the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. I would imagine Bailey Zappi's probably going to start the next game, and you never know. He could. I don't think he will, but he could come out and play.
But again, God, the Patriots, they have no weapons. Their defense, their best corner, their stud corner, the dude from Oregon, out for the year, tore his pec. The dude, the Judon, did he also tear his pec?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, but they have the first round pick.
Yeah, exactly. They have the first round pick, and that's why I would take them.
It makes
and the coaching.
it makes you as a Bears fan realize that maybe you aren't as down bad as you thought you were.
Yeah.
Right? There's other teams out there
that are worse.
Yeah. Believe it or not. And you know what? We have their first pick, and that's the Carolina Panthers.
It's fun.
Carolina Panthers versus Bears, Week 10, Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to go an episode without talking about the Bears.
I had a point to bring up about
You're
my
not
question.
that lucky, buddy.
Yeah.
So you brought up the Broncos and Panthers about being in the worst situation, worst spot. Isn't it crazy how fast NFL changes? Because less than a decade ago, those 2 teams played each other in the Super Bowl.
Crazy.
And now they're
Crazy.
like
2015.
2 worst spots.
The 2 worst spots. And you look at those teams, who's a quarterback? Peyton Manning, Cam Newton.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
say what you want, but that's a great point. It's crazy.
Crazy.
And that's what makes the NFL so great, though, the parity. There hasn't been a repeat since the Patriots. But the year Tanner and I was born, the 01-02 team.
2.
Amidst all the craziness, the MLB Playoffs are still going on. Man, Philly was rocking the other day against the Marlins. I know we already talked about that. We're going to talk about them now. And as we're recording this, after this, each of the DSs will be 2-0, 1-1 maybe. Who knows? But I want to talk about the Rangers going and just taking care of business.
Impressive.
And their offense, we need to start talking about a few people. Corey Seager might be the best player not named Shohei on the planet. I mean, my God, he is so good. He's so dominant.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would fear him and Bryce Harper, those two, more than anyone in any lineup.
Yeah. He's one of those guys, like Anthony Rizzo when he was on the Cubs, as a guy, like as a Cubs fan, it was always like, man, he just looks like every time he walks into that batter's box, he's locked in. You watch Corey Seager do that every time he comes to the plate.
He took 5 walks.
Yeah.
They were afraid to pitch him.
He's
It's
so
the
dialed.
first time any player's ever taken 5 walks in a playoff game.
He's so dialed.
Baseball's been going on forever, and to do it first time in anything.
And he plays a great
impressive.
shortstop too.
Yeah,
Like he's really good like defensively as well.
Rangers up 2-0, man. It's crazy.
To go into Canada and take 2
it's tough.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, AL East still haven't won a game in playoffs. It's tough.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised to see them go in and take 2. I had the Rangers winning in 4, and that part of that was because the Orioles pitching, which I think has to do with the Rangers offense. But man, that lineup, it is so good. You got guys like Jonah Heim just raking, and Adolis Garcia,
All of them are raking.
Josh Young, Marcus. We didn't even mention
Marcus Semien, probably the best leadoff hitter in baseball. I mean, it just sets the tone. But Tanner, you got another series.
Yeah, I want to talk about the D-backs. They roll into Los Angeles,
shelled Kershaw,
and they win 9-0. I mean, again, I had the D-backs at 5, but I was not expecting that game.
Shelled
not at
Kershaw,
all.
man.
That was impressive.
Kershaw, his postseason struggles are noted, but the past 2 years he has been substantially better. The year that they won the World Series, this COVID or whatever, he was better. He was very good. And to do that, it was brutal. He got 1 out, gave up 5 runs. I mean, the tone was 7. The center fielder dropped the ball. Fielder dropped the ball, and it was just on from there.
Yeah.
And man, shout out to Longoria, man.
It was a beatdown. I haven't even watched a ton of this postseason yet, just because it's on when other great sporting events are on. But I tell you what, I don't even know who's going to be in the World Series right now.
Especially out of the AL. The AL.
Oh, the AL.
That's what I was thinking. The AL's wide.
The NL, I feel like the Phillies are just.
Well, we'll see. The game
Really
2
good.
of that is actively going on right now.
Yeah.
You don't win 108 games, 105 games by accident,
Yeah.
and that line's still plenty good. Quickly for the Twins and Astros, only series as of right now is 1-1. Twins got a big bounce back win. I mean, that series is destined to go 5 games.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. It has to.
Unless
It has to.
the only thing I can think of, and this is it was a part of my prediction when I made it, is they're playing in Minnesota now, right? And we're in Chicago. It's like Minnesota's
it is
way
cold
up north,
Minnesota.
and it is freezing cold here today.
You gotta have a Minnesota accent.
Yeah, I mean, but so just think of how cold it is here today, and how cold it's gonna be.
It's hockey weather, man.
Hockey.
Yeah.
Let's get into hockey. Hockey starts tomorrow, man. You know who's the first game?
Oh, Predators versus Tampa.
Predators versus Lightning. Because
You know why?
Guess who's the second game?
Because nobody cares. It's gonna be 4:00
5:30 Eastern.
on a Tuesday.
We talked about the Rays attendance was. The Lightning have sold out every game for the past 5 seasons.
I'm
man.
sure it's incredible.
And I went to Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final when they beat Montreal, just rocking right off COVID, man. People were
Tell you what, but
rocking.
Nashville's got themselves a little team. It's gonna be
they're good.
Obviously, it's hockey, right? So it just started preseason. What's incredible about hockey is, in the NFL, they play 3 games, but their starters don't play a lot.
Everyone
Baseball,
plays hockey, man.
they don't really play a whole lot. Hockey, you're getting the best lineup every night, and it's incredible.
Well, not necessarily every night, but
Yeah,
as you get toward the end,
because the thing
your
about hockey
dudes
is,
are out there.
you got to understand, what shift is going to work well with what guy and everything like that. So Tampa Bay starts tomorrow.
They're so raw.
Hey,
Blackhawks
after
starts
that
tomorrow
on
Yep.
ESPN.
Blackhawks take on the Penguins.
Penguins,
So
yeah.
obviously,
We'll see,
the
Patrick.
Penguins are heavy favorites, as they should be. The Blackhawks were absolutely awful last year, and all they added
You
was
get Connor Bedard for a reason. Let's just put it
100%.
like that.
Connor Bedard has shown that he's legit, and I'm super excited to get going. I think Tanner's officially bought into
I'm bought
NHL.
in.
He changed his Bitmoji to the
Yeah, I
Blackhawks,
saw that.
and it was incredible because Tanner's bought in on the Blackhawks. It's gonna be a great time. And then the
Quickly,
season.
I want to say one more thing about the Lightning. Vasilevsky, best goalie the last 5 years, maybe of this generation, is out for the first 2 months.
Yeah.
He had a back surgery.
Yeah.
So we'll see. The Lightning, the Atlantic, the division they're in is deep. The Panthers, who made the Stanley Cup Final, was the AC last year. Boston's still there. Toronto is still there. They have Edmonton, up and coming. Not Edmonton. Ottawa, up and coming team. And we'll see. Vegas won it last year, still have all the time to repeat. Edmonton has the best player in the world, Connor McDavid. So we'll see, man.
Yeah.
We'll get into some hockey talk.
Vegas ends the night slate tomorrow against the Kraken, the 2 expansion
I
teams.
love the Kraken.
I
hate the Kraken, but
I have one more thought on the Blackhawks because obviously Bedard's the big one, right?
talk to us.
But they also brought in
Here we go.
a former MVP, former Hart Trophy winner, Taylor Hall. I had to look up his name.
That's okay. He used to be on the-
That's okay.
I knew they brought in a former MVP.
He used to be on the Bruins.
So
They
Bruins.
traded. You got him from the Bruins.
So
Taylor Hall's a stud.
the Blackhawks have more than just Connor Bedard coming in.
And they brought a guy like Taylor Hall, in my opinion. Obviously, I don't know him on the front office, but you bring in a guy like that for experience to teach the youngster. I mean, because Connor Bedard is.
Yeah.
And they're going to be
So
playing
young.
alongside each other, right? Like their positions kind of coincide. So.
It's
All
exciting.
right, who's going to Stanley Cup? Fresh off the dome.
Oh, this is crazy.
I got a good prediction.
I didn't even.
I'll go
you
first. I'll go Edmonton. They're too good to not. They've had playoff struggles in the past. I think the West isn't as deep as the East is, and the playoffs are kind of funky. You play. You could be number 1 in your division, but in the conference, but you'll play the other team in your division first.
Yeah.
So, for example, the Lightning beat. That's why they play Toronto every year. It's not necessarily because they're the 4-5 matchup. It's because of the division. So, I think Edmonton is going to win.
All right, I got Toronto.
I was gonna go Toronto. I had to make
Well,
moves as
I'm
well.
not gonna-
I'll go different. I'll go different from James. I was gonna take him, but I'll go with the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, they're fun.
That's a good pick.
They're a fun team.
That's a good pick. They have one
God,
of
the
my
East is loaded,
favorite
man.
players in hockey.
The
So.
Carolina 2 out east is good, man.
Thank God the Blackhawks are out west,
Yeah,
right?
the S is definitely out west.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, we're gonna go into legendary shambles. We're gonna roll this one off quick. We'll do shambles first, and I'm going. We already talked about it. You got to go with the Broncos, man.
You suck. You suck.
And they're just so bad. I mean, Zach Wilson. They come into your building, Mile High, man. I don't know what it's called now. It's always Mile High, and They scored, what, 13 points, 15 points? It's embarrassing.
21.
But, yeah, 20. They scored 21?
Now you have to go.
That proves when I turned off the game.
You have to go now because I literally have one thing written for shambles, and it's the Broncos. But
Sorry.
For shambles, I could have gone with the Rays or Notre Dame football, but I'm going to play a little bit nice. I'm going to go the New York Giants, all right? New York Giants.
Just for fun.
The
one shambles you have.
What are we in shambles about? The New York Giants, right? They won a playoff game last year. They signed Daniel Jones to that big extension.
Sorry.
Daniel Jones sucks. The Giants suck. They can't win a game. They're inept. They're going nowhere. And good luck with that Daniel Jones contract.
That was pretty depressing. That was a pretty depressing breakdown.
I think the Giants have cool retro helmets.
Sorry if you're a Giants fan. Yeah,
and sorry to us to have to watch them on national TV like 5 more times this year.
Yeah, that's brutal. In shambles, we'll talk about the Miami Hurricanes.
No,
the U.
Suck, man.
Poor Colin Cosme. You have the ball with 38 seconds on the game clock.
In the game.
Checking, like it's clocking down. The Georgia Tech has no timeouts, and you run a ball and you fumble. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Take a knee.
Fireable offense right off the bat.
The fact that he even got to the podium to take the press conference is unbelievable.
Terrible.
Take a knee, you win the game.
First of all, you're 17-point favorites at home. You're only up 3 against Georgia Tech, who hasn't been good since Calvin Johnson was there. Maybe
it's so bad.
Terrible.
What a terrible mistake. I don't even know what. He didn't even defend himself at all. It was the worst thing I've seen in sports.
My legendary is the Philadelphia Phillies crowd. Man, we're gonna put the clip up here of them singing the walk-up song, and then the dude belching the grand slam.
Yeah.
Scott's his last name.
Yeah.
I mean, you're hard pressed to find a better atmosphere in baseball than that. Cubs is epic. Red Sox, Yankees, all epic, but man, it's
Philly's
awesome, man. That crowd, it breeds postseason baseball. That's what you love about it, and yeah.
And they got this song
legendary.
too.
Yeah.
Dancing on My Own.
Dancing on My Own.
And like, why is that your song?
But it's
awesome.
good.
It's awesome.
Like,
literally, I've watched it 15 times.
I know.
It's awesome.
I love when Kyle Schwarber starts singing it. Like, it's incredible.
Hummus.
I'm going 49ers offense for my legendary. Their 5 games, they've put up 30, 30, 30, 35, and 42.
That's consistent.
So it's not even just consistent, it's just dominant.
Is there a better coach in the NFL than Coach Shanahan? There's not.
It's just dominant. It's just dominant, right? To take a guy like Brock Purdy and to just trust him fully.
That's not talked about enough. Mr. Irrelevant. He was legitimately the last pick in the draft.
And here's the thing, everyone wants him to fail. Like, I'm on TikTok all the time. They're like, I know you don't. But guys on TikTok are like, he's going to fail. Like, he's going to show his true colors. This system is designed for any guy to step back in the pocket and just throw the ball, right? And that's what Brock Purdy does well, and that's why the 49ers offense is having a legendary. I mean, I could do it under Kyle Shanahan.
I don't think I could.
I could. I'd trip over my feet.
I think I could throw for like 50 yards in a game.
Tanner, you can't look over the offensive line.
That's why I just throw screens.
You're like, ooh, hold on.
Because Bryce Young is short. You're shorter than Bryce Young.
Yeah, you're like 3 inches shorter.
Not
3 inches shorter than Bryce Young.
My legendary moment, I'm going DJ Moore. Sorry to be a homer, but and it's more than just his big game, right? Because all season long we said, all right, DJ Moore is going to take that Stephon Diggs, AJ Brown jump, and all we heard from non-Bears fans is no, there's no way. And look at him, he's 5th in the NFL in receiving yards, in front of Stephon Diggs, right behind AJ Brown. So he's making the jump. He's tied for the NFL lead in touchdowns with 5, and he's 2nd in the NFL in yards after catch, behind just Tyreek Hill. So DJ Moore, legendary.
He did a legendary week.
Yeah, and if you made it this far, thank you for listening. Again, subscribe, leave a like, check us out on TikTok if we ever post on there, Instagram, and whatever else.
Just start sharing it.
We are posting on Instagram. Start sharing it. Tell your kid, tell your uncle, tell your wife, tell your grandma. She probably likes sports. No?
My grandma likes sports.
My grandma did. Anyway, we'll wrap it there. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on Friday.
Deuces.